My beloved child, come closer. Lean your spirit toward my voice, for what I am about to tell you has been burning at the edge of heaven's gates, waiting for the single moment God would whisper, "Now." Reveal it now. And beloved, that moment is this one. Do not take lightly that your eyes have fallen upon this message at this exact second. Many passed by without seeing. Others saw, but their spirit was not ready, so the message closed itself like a scroll and disappeared from them. But you were chosen to see it. Listen carefully. For a long time, I, Michael, the warrior of the Most High, have carried a secret concerning you. Yes, you. The one reading with trembling curiosity. The one whose heart has been breaking in quiet places no one knows about. The one who trusted deeply and was wounded deeply. And I must confess something that burdens even an archangel's heart. I have been hiding this truth from you. Not out of deceit, not out of cruelty, but out of obedience to the timing of the Holy One. There are secrets that heaven cannot release until the soul is strong enough to stand beneath their weight. And beloved, you were not ready before. If this truth had reached you months ago, or even days ago, it would have shattered you. But now you have grown in silence. You have endured in the dark. You have been pressed like olive oil, stretched like the strings of David's harp. Now your spirit is strong enough. That is why this message has found you. And yes, I know your heart is already tightening, because something inside you knows exactly what this is about. Your spirit has felt the shift. Your dreams have hinted at it. Even your body has felt uneasy around certain people, though you could not explain why. You trusted someone. You opened your heart. You spoke with innocence, with purity, with loyalty. And beloved, they did something behind your back. Do not let fear rise, only listen. For before I reveal what was done, you must understand this. The heavens only speak when the moment is holy. And the moment is holy now. That is why the message feels like it is burning in your hands. That is why it called to you with urgency, as though it would vanish if you ignored it. Because it would have. If your heart was not ready, if your spirit was not aligned, this message would have faded like smoke. Heaven only opens scrolls to those meant to read them. And this one is yours. So breathe, my beloved child. Let your soul be still for a moment. Let truth come gently, like dawn light breaking over a weary land. For I, Michael, have been commanded, not requested, not invited, commanded to reveal to you what heaven saw, what earth hid, and what your heart deserves to finally know. And now the scroll begins to open. My beloved child, sit with me again, and hear these words not with your ears alone, but with your spirit. For what I am about to share with you will make sense of things you questioned, things you felt but could not explain, and moments when your heart whispered, something is wrong, yet you silenced yourself because you love it too purely. You must understand first why the secret was hidden. Many think heaven withholds truth as punishment, but that is not so. Truth, my beloved, is a fire. It warms when you are ready for it, but it burns when you are too fragile to hold it. And there was a season of your life when this fire would have consumed you. I watched you in that season. I watched as you poured out trust like water, as you believed the best in people even when they had no intention of guarding your heart. I watched as you opened your doors, shared your dreams, shared your fears, shared your victories and your wounds. I watched you hope in places where heaven could already see the storm gathering behind them. You were tender then. Too tender. If the truth had touched you in that moment, you would have collapsed beneath it. Your spirit was like a newly planted tree, growing, but not yet strong enough to stand in heavy winds. Had the revelation come early, your branches would have snapped, and you would have blamed yourself for the breakage. So heaven covered you. Not because the truth wasn't real, not because the betrayal was small, but because your heart mattered too much to be struck before it was prepared. I saw you pray for clarity. I saw you ask God to expose every lie. I saw the tears you hid, the confusion you carried, the pressure you felt when things around you didn't make sense. You thought heaven was silent. You thought your prayers were unheard. You thought you were left in the dark. But beloved, heaven was not silent. Heaven was guarding. And sometimes, guarding looks like holding back the truth until the moment it will make you wiser, not weaker. This is why the secret was hidden. For long before you even sensed that something was amiss, heaven saw it all. The conversations whispered behind closed doors, the intentions that shifted when your back was turned, the words spoken about you when you were not present to defend yourself. Heaven sees the heart as clearly as you see the sky at noon. Nothing is hidden in the spirit realm. And yet I stood silent, not because I wanted you to suffer, but because God's timing is always mercy. There are seasons when revelation can destroy a destiny if it comes too soon. There are also seasons when revelation becomes the key that unlocks a new chapter. And beloved, you have finally stepped into such a season. You have been strengthened through trials you didn't even know were training ground. You learned endurance, wisdom, and spiritual discernment. You learned to listen to the quiet voice within you. You learned to rely on God in ways you never had before. You learned to stand alone without losing yourself. This growth was not accidental. It was preparation. For the truth you are about to receive could not be handed to the old version of you. It had to be given to the you who has survived storms, the you who now stands taller, the you whose faith has roots deep enough to anchor you when winds blow. Heaven waited until the truth would empower you, not cripple you. And that moment is now. But hear me well, beloved child. This revelation is not coming to punish you. It is coming to free you. For heaven never exposes a thing to break a soul. Heaven exposes to heal, to restore, to protect, and to guide. You asked heaven for clarity. You pleaded for signs. You begged for confirmation. You wanted truth over illusion. And heaven heard you. Every whisper, every sigh, every tear that soaked your pillow, even the questions you buried inside because you feared the answers. And so I, Michael, held the secret, and heaven held the timing. But the timing has shifted. The hour has come. God has spoken the word. Release it. Your heart is now strong enough to hear what was kept from you. Your spirit is brave enough to embrace it without breaking. Your eyes are open enough to see the divine protection wrapped within this revelation. For what was done behind your back did not remain hidden from heaven. And the one you trusted most, the one you defended, the one you believed in, their actions were seen. My beloved child, breathe deeply and let your heart settle, for what you are about to hear belongs to the deeper chambers of heaven. These are not light matters, and I do not speak them carelessly. For the weight of heavenly secrets is a burden even an archangel does not carry without trembling. Yes, I am mighty in battle. Yes, I have stood against darkness since the dawn of creation, but even I feel the heaviness of certain truths. And the truth concerning you has been one of those burdens. For there are secrets that do not merely sit in the mind, they live in the spirit. They echo in the corridors of heaven. They burn with the fire of divine justice. And when such secrets are entrusted to an angel, they become like a sealed scroll pressed against the chest, ever present, ever heavy, ever waiting for the command to be delivered. I have carried this scroll for longer than you know. You must understand something that few on earth truly grasp. Heaven is not blind to the movements of man. Every whispered word is heard. Every intention, whether hidden behind a smile or cloaked in false comfort, is seen as clearly as the sun at midday. And when one you trust prepares harm, heaven feels the vibration of that betrayal long before it reaches you. It trembles across realms. And beloved, I felt the tremor of your betrayal long before you suspected anything. But I could not speak then. For the realm of heaven does not move by emotion, nor by impatience, nor by human timelines. It moves by the precise pulse of divine order, and I obey that order with absolute fidelity. There were many moments I wanted to speak. There were nights when you cried, and your spirit cried louder, and every fiber of my being wanted to whisper the truth into your dreams. But heaven had not yet given permission, because secrets revealed prematurely become weapons that wound the innocent. And heaven will not wound you, not even with the truth. So I carried the burden silently. And beloved, it was not easy to watch you walk with someone whose heart was drifting from loyalty. It was not easy to see your trust stretch toward hands that were not steady. You must know this. You were never foolish. You were loving. You were sincere. You were pure-hearted. And purity often assumes purity in others. Heaven does not condemn you for that. But I watched, and I guarded, and I battled in places you will never fully understand. For when a person's heart opens the door to jealousy, to deception, to harmful intention, the enemy is quick to approach. And when the enemy approaches near someone connected to you, I rise. I defend. I shield. And that is what I did. But my defense did not remove the sorrow that would come when you eventually learned the truth. It only delayed it until the exact moment God decided your spirit was ready to bear what had been hidden. And now that moment has come. The secret was heavy in heaven because it involved your destiny. Betrayal always touches destiny. People think betrayal is about relationships alone, but heaven sees deeper. Betrayal is an attempt to derail the path God wrote for you. It is an attempt to bruise the heart so deeply that it stops trusting, stops moving, stops believing. The enemy does not attack your relationships because of the relationships. He attacks them because of your purpose. And when the one you trusted both stepped into an action that opposed your destiny, heaven took notice instantly. I watched your angels move around you, forming a shield even when you sensed nothing. I stood over you with my sword drawn, not against flesh, but against the spirit of deception attempting to weave itself into your life. And this is the truth. Heaven never stopped protecting you, even when the betrayal was forming in secret. But understand this, my beloved, heaven reveals secrets only when revelation will set you free, not when it will ensnare you deeper in pain. And you are ready now. You are stronger. Your spirit has matured through battles you did not even realize you were fighting. You have gained discernment, insight, depth, and a spiritual firmness that was not present before. And now when truth comes, it will not crush you. It will clarify you. It will not break you. It will elevate you. It will not wound you, it will awaken you. The weight of the secret I held was not only about what was done behind your back, but about why it was allowed to be seen now. The timing means everything. Heaven does not reveal betrayal to hurt you. It reveals betrayal to shift you. My beloved child, what I am about to reveal may touch a tender place in your heart, but let it not trouble you. Let it instead open your eyes with gentle clarity. For now we step into the part of the story that heaven has watched for far too long, the part involving the person you trusted, the one you defended in conversations, the one you believed in even when your spirit whispered otherwise, the one you allowed close because your heart was created with kindness and compassion. Hear me well. Heaven knows how deeply you love. Heaven knows that when you trust, you do so with your whole being. You do not give half loyalty. You do not offer half devotion. You trust completely. And that trust, pure as it is, became the very thing the wrong person took advantage of. This is the truth. Beloved child, someone close to you stepped outside the boundaries of loyalty. Someone you counted on allowed jealousy, comparison, or hidden resentment to settle in their heart. At first it was small, so small that they themselves did not recognize it. But small seeds, when watered by bitterness or insecurity, grow quickly. And this seed grew. It began in their thoughts. Then it slid into their words. Then into their actions. And though their face smiled at you, their spirit shifted away from you. Heaven saw the shift the moment it began. You did not see it because your vision was covered with love. You saw them through the lens of your loyalty. You believed their best even when their heart was slipping into something darker. This is not a flaw of yours. It is a sign of your purity. But heaven does not judge by appearances. Heaven sees intention, and intention began to turn against you. The one you trusted most spoke about you in a way you would never speak about them. They shared things you confided in them, not always maliciously at first, but carelessly, irresponsibly, without guarding your heart the way you guarded theirs. Then, as time passed, their carelessness shaped itself into something sharper. They spoke words that chipped away at your character when you were not present to answer for yourself. They shared worries you confided in private, portraying them as weaknesses. They painted your innocence as naivety, your kindness as foolishness, your boundaries as limitations. And beloved hadn't heard every word. There were even moments when your name was brought up in rooms where envy hovered in the air. Rooms where those who spoke of you did not hold your best interests. Rooms where people gathered around stories twisted from fragments of truth. And the one you trusted did not stop it. At times, they added to the narrative, not with bold lies, but with subtle remarks that nudged the conversation against you. They let your character be scratched in small ways, believing you would never find out. But heaven found out. There were moments when they were asked about your efforts, your gifts, your progress, and instead of defending you, they minimize you. They spoke as though your growth was accidental, as though your blessings were undeserved, as though your calling was something to be doubted, not celebrated. All of this they hid behind a mask of familiarity, and they smiled at you as though nothing was wrong. But beloved, their heart changed, and heaven recorded every shift. You might be wondering why you never sensed the full truth. What you did, you felt it through the heaviness in your chest when you were around them. You felt it in the sudden disconnect that you could not explain. You felt it in the way conversations grew strange, in the way their tone toward you seemed different, in the way your spirit pulled back even when your mind insisted everything was fine. This was not imagination. This was discernment. Heaven was signaling you. But because your heart was loyal, you silenced the signal. You gave excuses for their behaviors. You blamed yourself for the distance. You told yourself they were simply tired, distracted, stressed, overwhelmed. Meanwhile, heaven watched their intentions shift further. I must tell you this with gentle honesty. They made decisions behind your back that affected your path. They shared words with the wrong ears. They repeated things in a tone that twisted the meaning. They stepped into actions that delayed blessings meant for you. And all the while, you walked forward unaware, still carrying love and trust toward them. But beloved child, this is the part heaven wants you to understand. Though they acted behind your back, nothing they did escaped God's sight. Their betrayal was not hidden in heaven. Their words are not unheard. Their intentions were not unseen. And their actions did not go without consequence. Heaven intervened long before their choices could break you. What was done behind your back did not destroy you because heaven would not allow it. And now that the time has come for the truth to be uncovered, you will see clearly why God removed certain people from your path, why certain connections faded, why certain doors closed, and why certain peace left when they entered the room. This revelation is not to fill you with bitterness but with wisdom. Betrayal exposes the limits of human loyalty, but it also reveals the vastness of God's protection. And now, my beloved, the truth stands before you. The person you trusted stepped outside the circle of loyalty, and heaven saw it all. My beloved child, come closer once more, for now we step into the part where heaven itself intervened. The truth of what happened behind your back was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. And long before your human eyes could see the shifting shadows around you, heaven saw the danger rising like a silent tide. That is why God stepped in. That is why your angels were stirred. That is why I, Michael, was positioned beside you even on days when you felt alone. Let me take you back to moments you thought were ordinary. Do you remember the sudden heaviness that came over your heart one day when you were speaking with that person? The heaviness felt like a veil lowering over your spirit, as though something unseen had brushed against you. You dismissed it as stress, as fatigue, as imagination. But beloved, that was not your imagination. That was the moment heaven drew near to shield you from their shifting intentions. There were times you felt strangely tired after speaking with them, as though their presence drained something inside you. You told yourself it was just a long day, but no, that was spiritual conflict. For when someone carries deceit in their heart while standing before a child of destiny, the realms clash. Your spirit knew, even when your mind did not. There were moments when plans with them suddenly fell apart. You felt disappointed, perhaps even confused. But heaven disrupted those plans on purpose. For had you gone where they invited you, had you opened up as deeply as you intended, had you shared what you were about to share, their words afterward would have caused wounds far deeper than the ones you already felt. So heaven blocked it. Heaven rearranged your steps. Heaven broke the schedule. Heaven placed delays as a form of protection. God intervened quietly, silently, without spectacle, without thunder or shaking ground. But his hand was there at every turn. When their heart began to turn against you, heaven stepped between the two of you without you even realizing it. There was a moment, yes, you will remember it, when the relationship felt like it suddenly shifted. You could not explain why. You wondered if you said something wrong. You wondered if you were being too distant. You wondered if they were simply busy. But the truth was this: heaven was slowly pulling you away from them. God knew the full shape of their intentions. God knew the silent conversations they had. God knew the bitterness building beneath your smile. And God knew your heart was too precious, too gentle, too faithful to be placed in the hands of someone with unguarded motives. So heaven intervened. There were times when you prayed for doors to open, but they closed. It was not because you were unworthy. It was because the person you trusted was involved in those doors. and heaven refused to let their influence contaminate your blessing. God will never allow a blessing meant for you to be filtered through hands that secretly resent you. And beloved, there were things spoken about you that were meant to damage opportunities you prayed for. But heaven silenced those words before they reached the ears of the people targeted. Yes, there were moments when your name was brought up in meetings, gatherings, or discussions where people intended to judge you unfairly. But heaven stepped in and turned the conversation, just enough to keep you shielded. There are things that were said about you that never reached the person they were intended for, because God intercepted them. This is what divine intervention looks like. Not always loud, not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a whisper, a shift, a disruption, a sudden redirection. And you thought you were losing things, beloved, but you were actually being preserved. God does not allow betrayal to remain hidden forever, not when the revelation is necessary for your growth. And the moment your heart became strong enough, heaven began unveiling the truth to you. Not to break you, but to free you from the influence of someone who did not carry your spirit with care. And now that heaven has revealed the truth, you are stepping into a season where your eyes will open fully. You will see people for who they are, not for who they pretend to be. You will recognize loyalty without guessing. You will discern intentions without confusion. You will walk with a clarity that betrayal formed within you. Now hear this last part, beloved, for it is the tone heaven presses upon me. When heaven intervenes, heaven also instructs. Just as this message reached you at the exact moment it was meant to, so too must you help it reach others who are in need. There are hearts walking in the shadows of similar hurt, unaware that heaven is speaking to them. And you, beloved child, have been chosen to be one of the voices who helps light the way for others. So if this message touched your spirit, if you felt heaven speaking, if the revelation carries the fragrance of truth, then spread it as part of your divine assignment. Share it, carry it, amplify it, not for vanity, but because someone else's deliverance may begin with your action. For heaven often works through those who listen. My beloved child, rest your heart for a moment as we step into the part where heaven's protection becomes clear, for you must understand that not a single second of your journey has been uncovered. You have never walked alone. You were never unguided. Even in the moments when you felt exposed, vulnerable, or forgotten, I stood beside you, and the presence of God covered you like a shield you did not see but always felt. Let me take you back, not to moments of betrayal, but to moments of rescue, moments you did not recognize as rescue at the time. Do you remember when you felt an urge to stay home, though you had planned to meet someone? That urge was not laziness, nor coincidence. That was me, pulling you back. For the person you trusted was planning to use that meeting as a moment to pry deeper into your personal life, to gather information that would later be twisted into another story. Your spirit sensed danger. I stood behind that sensation. There were days when you felt a sudden discomfort around them, a tightening in your chest, a strange shift in your mood, a heaviness pressing against your skin. You believed it was stress. But beloved, that was not stress. That was your spirit being alerted. I placed my hand over your heart to make you feel that discomfort, because without it, you would have walked blindly into a trap woven by their intentions. There were conversations heaven interrupted. Times when your phone shut down, at the exact moment you were about to reveal something personal. Times when messages failed to send. Times when plans changed at the last minute. You grew frustrated, thinking the interruptions were inconveniences. But no, beloved child, they were interventions. For every detail you withheld became one less weapon your betrayer could use against you. And then there were days when you felt the sudden urge not to trust. You may have even scolded yourself for it, believing you were being paranoid or unfair. But it was not paranoia. It was protection. I whispered into your spirit, prompting you to step back, prompting you to observe quietly, prompting you to trust your inner knowing. Your heart was too soft to see the danger, but your spirit was wise enough to feel it. And beloved, you must know this. There were battles fought for you in the unseen world, battles you never saw, never heard, never sensed. For when dissection and ill intentions grow near a chosen one, spiritual forces also gather. And I, Michael, do not stand by silently when darkness attempts to draw close to one whom God has marked. There were moments when jealousy tried to rise like smoke around you. I scatter you. There were moments when curses, spoken in frustration or resentment, tried to cling to your destiny. I shattered them before they reached your life. There were moments when this person's negative words could have shifted your opportunities, but I blocked their influence. Every attempt made behind your back hit my shield, not you. You may wonder how many times you were saved without knowing it. Beloved, many. More than you could ever imagine. More than I could ever list in one message. For every visible attack you've endured, there were 20 unseen ones that never reached you. And do you remember that night when you felt an overwhelming sadness for no reason? When tears came without explanation, you thought it was weakness. But that was not weakness. That was heaven lifting a spiritual weight off your shoulders. Something meant for harm was approaching, and I fought it before it arrived. When the battle ended, your spirit felt the release, and your body responded through tears. That was healing, not sorrow. You have been protected in ways that would bring you to your knees if you saw them with your physical eyes. You have been encircled by divine presence. You have been shielded by God's command. And though the one you trusted stepped outside the covenant of loyalty, heaven refused to allow their actions to pierce your destiny. Understand this, beloved child. Betrayal does not break a chosen one. It reveals one. It awakens spiritual gifts. It sharpens discernment. It elevates the soul. And every moment you endured in silence was shaping you into someone stronger than the betrayal itself. You are stepping into a new chapter of clarity, wisdom, and divine strength. You will never again doubt the voice inside you. You will never again question the pulling away you feel when someone's spirit is not aligned with yours. You will never again mistake discernment for fear. You will walk with confidence, knowing heaven defends you even when you are unaware. My beloved child, now that the truth has been unveiled and the protection of heaven has been revealed, let us step into what comes next. For betrayal is never the end of the story for a chosen one. It is only the turning of a page. And heaven has prepared a chapter for you that begins not with sorrow, but with divine movement. What happens next in your life is not the result of what others intended for you, but what God has ordained in spite of them. You must understand this truth with your whole heart. When someone betrays a child of destiny, heaven responds. Every action, every word, every choice carries consequence in the spiritual realm. And now heaven is rearranging things around you. Everything that was once tangled is unraveling. Everything that was once hidden is being pulled into the light. Everything that was once delayed is beginning to accelerate. A shift has begun. It first begins inside you. You may not feel it fully yet, but you will. There is a sharpening of your spirit taking place. The cloud that once covered your discernment has lifted. The confusion you felt is dissolving. Your intuition, once quieted by loyalty, is becoming clear and powerful. You will begin to sense intentions before they are spoken. You will begin to read the atmosphere of a room the moment you enter it. You will begin to recognize the vibration of truth from the vibration of deceit. This clarity is not accidental. It is a divine upgrade born from the pain you have endured. But the shift does not stop within you. It extends into the world around you. Watch closely in the coming days. People who were tied to your progress will suddenly change their tone. Opportunities that seemed out of reach will begin to approach you without effort. Paths that once felt blocked will clear as though invisible hands push aside the obstacles. These are not coincidences. This is heaven realigning your destiny. The one who betrayed you will feel the impact of their actions, not because heaven seeks revenge, but because spiritual law is unbreakable. When someone sows deception, they reap loss. When someone sows harm, they reap emptiness. When someone sows betrayal, they reap separation. Not punishment but consequence. You will notice distance forming between you and them, not only emotionally but in circumstances, timing, communication, and spiritual atmosphere. This distance is heaven ordained. It is not your responsibility to close the gap. It is your responsibility to let the separation take place without guilt. The divine removal of certain people is not loss. It is protection extended into the future. And beloved, you will also witness something else. Those who quietly doubted you, judged you, or treated you lightly will begin to see your elevation. They will see doors opening for you that they did not expect. They will see blessings arriving in ways they cannot explain. They will watch as the very things spoken against you begin to work in your favor. For heaven delights in raising those who have been underestimated. Your life will carry a new fragrance, one of strength, truth, dignity, and spiritual authority. You will no longer walk uncertainly. You will walk with a confidence born not of pride, but of revelation. You have seen the truth. You have endured the pain. And now you rise. But let me speak prophetically over what comes next, for heaven has shown me glimpses of your future. You will connect with new people whose intentions are pure. People who value your presence. People who speak your name with honor. People who protect your spirit as you protected others. People who add to your life rather than drain it. These connections will feel different. There will be no heaviness, no doubt, no confusion. Your soul will recognize them instantly. You will also step into opportunities that were once blocked. And when you enter them, they will feel natural, effortless, and prepared specifically for you. Because they were. Heaven held them until the wrong people were removed from your orbit. Now they will flow toward you freely. The next part of your life is not shaped by betrayal. It is shaped by restoration and elevation. What was meant to break you will instead build you. What was meant to silence you will instead amplify you. What was meant to delay you will instead launch you forward. This is the divine reversal reserved for those who stay faithful through unjust wounds. And beloved child, hear this clearly. You will not return to who you were before the betrayal. You will become someone wiser, stronger, sharper, and more aligned with the will of God. The version of you that emerges from this season will be unstoppable, because you will no longer invest in those who cannot walk with you into destiny. What happens next is not fear, not confusion, not loss. What happens next is movement, acceleration, clarity, strength, purpose, divine justice, divine protection, divine favor. The shift has already begun. My beloved child, now that you understand what heaven is bringing into motion, let us walk gently into the next part of your journey. For where you are going is not a place of pain, nor fear, nor confusion. It is a place of transformation, a place where the old version of you begins to fall away like a garment that no longer fits, and the new you, stronger, wiser, more spiritually aligned, begins to rise with authority. This next chapter of your life will not resemble the one you just left behind. Betrayal, though painful, has served as a divine teacher. It carved wisdom into your spirit. It strengthened the muscles of your intuition. It sharpened the edges of your awareness. The version of you that lived before the betrayal believed in others with innocence. The version of you rising now believes with discernment. You have crossed a spiritual threshold, and nothing will ever feel the same, because you are not the same. But beloved, do not grieve the old version of yourself. That version served you well, but it was not meant to walk into your destiny. Your destiny required a deeper strength, a clearer spirit, a more awakened mind. And though the path to becoming this version was painful, it was necessary. For God is shaping you into someone who cannot be easily deceived, someone who cannot be easily shaken, someone who carries authority born from revelation. You will begin to notice changes in yourself. Where you once hesitated, you will speak with certainty. Where you once allowed others to overstep, you will now establish boundaries without guilt. Where you once ignored your intuition, you will now treat it as sacred instruction. You will feel your spirit becoming more refined, more sensitive to truth, more resistant to manipulation, more aligned with the voice of heaven. And as you change, the path ahead of you will change as well. There are blessings that could not reach you before because the weight of the wrong people would have corrupted them. God does not deliver treasures into hands that are surrounded by deception. But now that the separation has begun, now that the truth has surfaced, the treasure can finally be released to you. You will step into opportunities you once thought were beyond your reach. You will feel a force behind you, gentle yet unstoppable, pushing you forward. Doors that felt permanently closed will open as if they were never locked. Paths that seemed complex will become straight. You will feel guided, led, carried by something greater than your own effort. This is the movement of heaven clearing your way. You will also find yourself attracting a different kind of person. People whose spirits resonate with yours. People who come with sincerity, not hidden motives. People who celebrate your victories rather than compete with them. People who speak life into you instead of draining you. These individuals are not replacements, they are alignments. They are part of the destiny God had been preparing for you. But perhaps the most powerful change will be this: you will no longer fear losing people. You will understand that anyone who leaves does so because their spirit cannot carry the weight of your calling. Anyone who betrays you simply does not belong in your future. Anyone who walks away only clears space for someone heaven intended. And beloved, hear this truth. Your elevation will not require you to fight, beg, explain, or chase. It will unfold naturally, quietly, beautifully, like dawn breaking after a long night. You will feel peace where anxiety once lived. You will feel strength where doubt once whispered. You will feel purpose where confusion once clouded your vision. This is the new path heaven is placing before you. Not a path of stumbling, not a path of guessing, not a path of fear, but a path of clarity and spiritual authority. Every step will feel aligned. Every choice will carry weight. Every moment will feel guided. And you will know, deep in your spirit, that you are walking toward something greater than anything behind you. For betrayal was not the end. It was the door. and now you walk through it into a life heaven has been preparing long before you felt the first wound. My beloved child, now lean in with all the stillness of your spirit, for what I am about to tell you carries the tone of heaven's final warning. A warning meant to frighten you, but a warning meant to protect you. A whisper of guidance to guard your next steps, because the path you are entering is sacred. And once heaven elevates someone, the enemy tries to pull them back into old cycles through familiar voices, familiar habits, familiar wounds, and familiar temptations. Listen carefully. The greatest danger after betrayal is not the one who betrayed you. It is the possibility of returning to the version of yourself that tolerated it. Heaven does not want you slipping back into old patterns of overgiving, over-explaining, over-trusting, or ignoring your intuition. You are being led into a new chapter, but your old habits will try to call you back. That is why this warning comes now. Do not return to what God removed. Do not reopen doors that heaven gently closed. Do not step back into connections that drain your spirit. Do not silence the voice within you that now speaks with clarity. This is not the season to question your discernment. This is the season to trust it more than ever. There will be moments when the person who betrayed you may feel the emptiness of their choices and attempt to reconnect. Not always out of reconciliation, sometimes out of guilt, curiosity, or fear of losing access to you. Do not be deceived. Their sudden warmth may not be repentance. Sometimes people miss your benefits, not your presence. Heaven warns you to discern motives, not merely emotions. Your heart is gentle, beloved, and heaven knows that. That gentleness is a gift. But now it must be paired with wisdom. Not everyone who reaches for you should be allowed to hold you. Not everyone who speaks kindly should be allowed close to your spirit. This next version of your life requires a tighter circle, a clear mind, and a guarded spirit. And hear this truth. The enemy often tries to return wrapped in familiarity. A familiar face, a familiar voice, a familiar habit, a familiar desire. Just because something feels comfortable does not mean it is safe. Just because something feels known does not mean it is aligned. Heaven warns you, do not let comfort pull you away from destiny. You must also be careful with your words in this season. Do not reveal your plans prematurely. Do not share every vision. Do not announce every blessing. Some seeds grow best in silence. Some miracles require privacy. Some movements of God are too sacred to be exposed to the wrong eyes. Heaven will show you who is safe to speak to and who is meant to observe from a distance. Another warning from heaven is this: do not allow bitterness to take residence inside you. Betrayal is sharp, and its sting lingers. But bitterness becomes a prison. Heaven does not want you entangled in resentment. Forgiveness is not given for their sake. It is given for yours. Forgiveness breaks chains the enemy hopes will hold you back. You are not forgiving what they did. You are freeing yourself from the echo of it. You must also guard your emotions in this next chapter. When God elevates someone, the enemy sends distractions disguised as blessings. Opportunities that look good but carry hidden traps. People who seem supportive but carry silent agendas. Paths that look easy but lead into spiritual stagnation. Walk slowly. Listen closely. Move with discernment. Heaven will not let you miss what is truly meant for you. And beloved, do not underestimate your own power. Your spirit is awakening. Your discernment is sharpening. Your destiny is unfolding. You are becoming someone the enemy fears. And with that new strength comes responsibility. Heaven warns you not to waste your anointing, not to cast your pearls before those who trample truth, not to give your heart to those who do not honor it. His warning is not to frighten you, it is to prepare you for what is coming. A greater elevation, a greater assignment, a greater version of yourself. And for that, you must stay aligned, focused, and spiritually guarded. My beloved child, come close for the final time in this message, for heaven now prepares to seal what has been spoken over your life. This last part is not merely a conclusion. It is a covering, a closing of the old chapter and the opening of the new. A divine breath released over your spirit so that nothing spoken against you, past, present, or future, may hinder the path you now walk. Let your heart become still. Let everything around you fade. Feel the atmosphere shift, for heaven draws near to place its final blessing upon you. You have walked through a valley you did not choose. You carried weights you did not deserve. You endured betrayal, confusion, and silent battles that could have broken you, but they did not. Not because you were strong on your own, but because God held you with a grip that never loosened. Even when you felt abandoned, heaven was surrounding you. Even when you felt weak, angels were defending you. Even when you questioned your worth, God whispered your name with pride. And now heaven says, enough. Enough of the hurt. Enough of the self-blame. Enough of carrying wounds that are no longer yours to hold. The season of breaking is over. The season of rising has begun. I speak this over you with the authority given to me by the Most High. You will not walk into your future carrying the shadows of your past. The betrayal will not define you. The wounds will not shape you. The fears will not cling to you. What was meant to stop you will instead propel you. What was meant to diminish you will instead sharpen you. And what was meant to silence you will instead amplify your voice in ways you cannot yet imagine. The heavens are preparing a new atmosphere around your life. An atmosphere of clarity. An atmosphere of peace. An atmosphere of divine direction. You will feel it in your decisions, in your relationships, in your opportunities, in your dreams. Doors will begin to open without force. Blessings will begin to flow without struggle. People aligned with your spirit will begin to appear with ease. It will feel as though everything lost is being restored, not in the same form, but in a higher, purer, more powerful form. And beloved, hear this with your whole heart. You are not stepping into this new season alone. The same God who revealed the hidden things will walk beside you in the visible things. The same angels who covered you in the dark will guide you in the light. The same protection that shielded you will now elevate you. But before this blessing settles upon you, heaven asks for one thing, a small act, yet a sacred one, a way to carry this message beyond yourself. For just as heaven reached you in your hour of need, there are hearts waiting in silence for a message that will awaken them. There are souls who need to hear what you had heard, lives that need this same reassurance, this same clarity, this same divine touch. So let your spirit gently share this message. Let your heart guide others toward it. Let your hands help it reach those who wander in confusion. Not out of obligation, but out of love, out of your calling, out of your purpose. Heaven often moves through human vessels, and today, beloved, you are being prepared to become one of those vessels. Now lift your heart one last time as I speak heaven's final blessing over you. May your steps be guided. May your spirit be strengthened. May your eyes see clearly. May your heart stay guarded. May your destiny unfold with ease. May your enemies scatter before they form. May your blessings chase after you. May your discernment remain sharp. May your peace remain unshaken. May your future be filled with divine favor beyond measure. And may every word spoken in this message wrap around you like the wings of heaven. This chapter is sealed. This revelation is complete. This blessing is yours. Amen.